Hey everyone, welcome to Real Knowledge Club Summit. Today we have a truly a fascinating guest with us who is one of the distinct global leaders on HR management. He's been working as a co-founder of like the global HR community, and he has worked with some of the top companies, and he's one of the top 25 coaches from India, from the group Marshall Goldsmith, and named as one of the Silicon Valley's top 10 prominent leadership coaches in 2023. And he's a mentor to like ESL IIT Mumbai, foster startup at Asia's largest business model competition. And he's also professional contribution past as like the vice president, secretary of NHRD Bangalore. And one of the most amazing thing is like I basically met him at the Peter Diamandis event. Like Peter had come all the way from like United States. They had invited at the global HR community in Bangalore last month, July, and then at like New Delhi. It was incredible meeting one and only the Ramesh Ranjan. And without any further delay, let's all welcome Ramesh Ranjan to the Real Knowledge Club Summit.
Akshay. Thank you, Akshay, for inviting me. It's my privilege and pleasure to be on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for taking your super valuable time. I'm super excited to learn and share your message across the community.
My pleasure.
So, I would love to know about your journey, right? Like your backstory. How did you get started into all these things?
Yeah, basically, I'm a HR professional. My passion is about managing people. And though, of course, I started my education as a literature graduate, I had a fascination for management. And within the management, the fascination was in terms of people management. And that's how I pursued a career for over 4 decades in the area of people management. When we were studying way back in the 1970s and 80s, we were not privileged to have the concept of campus placements, and we were all brought up being told find your own way. So when I passed out of the Madras School of Social Work after completing my MSSW, I found my own way and sought after opportunities, starting my career with organization like Eastern Railroad in Hosur. And then, of course, after a few churns, I ended up with ITI Limited, which is one of the India's premier public sector telecom organization. And then over a period of time, I won my way through to the leadership positions in leading companies. It's been a tough journey to start with. As I said, we were not privileged to have any campus placements. I had to find my way through. I had to build my personal brand, make connections with people, network with leaders, work with them sometimes on a pro bono basis, and then, of course, lay a strong foundation for your career. That's been the start of my journey, and no regrets. And I've been enjoying my journey in this space of people management and, in general, the management area.
Absolutely. That's amazing. That's great to hear. And secondly, I would like to know about what is the exponential organization, right? Like this was the term I recently read from like Peter Diamandis' book Exponential Organization, right? I was not understanding like for all the new people, right, who doesn't know about like Peter, like can you tell us about what exactly it is and how it is different from the traditional organization in terms of growth and scalability?
See, the traditional organizations, especially in this part of the world, I'm talking about India and the Indian subcontinent. Traditionally, if you see our Indian organizations, especially in the last century, were contended growing at what we call as a Hindu rate of growth, right? What it meant was that people were focusing purely on their core competence. What they are good at, they went on working in that direction. They were risk averse to a great extent because they wanted to ensure that they're always successful, and therefore they were risk averse, didn't have the risk appetite. For them, winning was everything. they would not be able to look at failures, and therefore, because of that, they were not willing to take risks. They were cocooned in their comfort zone, and they were not willing to move out of the comfort zone. So that's where the new breed of entrepreneurs who came onto the scene, people like the Googles, the Amazons, the Ubers, who challenged the status quo, who challenged business models, who challenged traditional thinkings, and went out of their comfort zone, thought out of the box, and came up with new ideas, new what Peter Diamandis crazy. If it's not crazy, it's not an idea. So they came up with crazy ideas, moved out of the comfort zone, and then they were able to build certain unique organizations and business models. So, to cut the story short, I think people moved away from being just scarcity mindset to what I call the abundance mindset. People looked at limitations as limitations, but then these entrepreneurs looked at limitations not as threats but as opportunities, and that's how they were able to scale up, come up with new models, and transform not just the business but also the organization and the world at large. So this, I would say, predominantly is the shift which is happening, and more so in the 21st century. And I think India is also now catching the bandwagon. And you see the number of startups, the number of diversifications that organizations are having, looking at cutthroat industries and sectors. I think we are also moving in that particular direction.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right, it is so important for like exponential so that people can grow like 10x instead of like small, like linear, right? That, no doubt. And sir, if I have to ask you, what was your three biggest learnings like from Peter Diamandis? What would it be?
I would say the first thing, which of course I've always been I am a strong believer in purpose. So I think first I would say the most transformative purpose, what Peter talks about. We are all guided by our purpose, and it is like, if you don't have a purpose, it's like driving a car without a speedometer or a navigation system. So the purpose acts as your compass in life, in all facets of life, and therefore I think the most transformative purpose of Peter Diamandis talks about is something which I would carry it away as one of the topmost. Second one, as I already said, honestly, I've changed my mindset from scarcity to abundance, right? As I just spoke before, we were all constrained by what we thought were limitations. But then Peter Diamandis showed to us the limitations are not because they're actual limitation, but limitation because of our mindset. So therefore, we need to adopt an abundance mindset. And the examples that he gave about water, right? 97.5% of the world of the earth is covered by water, but still we have water shortage. We have 8 times more energy which the sun can provide, but still we have got electricity shortages. So it's not that the resources are not available, it's just that we're not able to use, and we were constrained because of our scarcity mindset. And the third point I would say is, which I'm always fascinated, is technology. And Peter Diamandis reinforces that how we can leverage technology for exponential growth and building exponential organization, and how AI has come here to stay. And it's not that AI is going to replace us; it's just that we need to augment it with AI. So these are some of the learnings that I had, which I picked up from Peter Diamandis.
Absolutely. That's amazing. I love that. Having that massive transformative purpose, having using the technology, having that abundance mindset, right? Instead of scarcity, thinking what if like what the world looks like, the possibility. Yep. And the next question, what I have is like, how do we find like smart people in an organization, right, who have this exponential mindset and longevity mindset? Because a lot of people have scarcity mindset. Even when I was trying to hire people, they always have this belief like we cannot do it. How is it possible? Nobody has done it, right? How can we get that really mind blowing people in the team?
See, Rajshekhar, honestly, I don't believe that there is a ready-made smart person, right? The very fact that you are trying to talk to that particular person and hire him means that he's got the potential and the capability. It is up to us to make ordinary people into extraordinary people. I'm a firm believer in that. In my 4 decades, I don't believe that talent lies only in the top echelons of the universities and the top B schools. It's just about you can pick up anyone who is good enough and then make them into extraordinary people. Look at ISRO, right? An ordinary Indian public sector organization which has got very limited resources, who cannot afford to hire the B schools or the top B schools or the top IIT graduates, they take ordinary people and convert them into extraordinary organizations. And look at the achievements of ISRO, right? What they've achieved, nobody else in this world could achieve at that particular scale and resources. So I believe strongly that if we have the right leadership, who's got the right vision, who's got an exponential vision and not a scarcity vision, if the leader is willing to take risks and pass it down to the employees also, and if the leader is able to provide the environment of autonomy and freedom, I'm sure that people will adopt an exponential mindset and be able to grow into exponential organizations. Look at all the startups which we have, whether in Bangalore or Bombay or Mumbai or in any part of the country or in the world. Many of them are fresh graduates, not necessarily from the top echelons of the thing, but then they're able to build some extraordinary solutions and solve some extraordinary problems and come up with some extraordinary organizations. So to summarize, I would say that it's about making ordinary people into extraordinary people and extraordinary organizations.
Absolutely. I love that. Like bringing ordinary people doing extraordinary things, right? All we have to do is train them, show them the right direction.
Right.
Yeah. And if we were to hire someone in your organization, what are the 3 to 5 things like you look for them?
Okay. I think first thing is I would look at whether the person has the fire in the belly. They say a well-fed lion is lazy to hunt. So whether the person really requires a job. So rather than look at someone who is coming from a very affluent family and who is just, I would look for somebody who's got a fire in the belly, who has that hunger for the particular job. Second, I would say that the hunger to succeed, the hunger to grow is very, very important. The third, of course, I would rather say first is attitude. It is always said that it's not the attitude, but it's not your aptitude, but the attitude which determines your altitude, right? So having the right mindset, the right attitude is key, and that is something which I would rather compromise somebody having lesser skills, but not compromise on the attitude. And the next skill or what I would look for is someone who's got the risk aptitude, right? Appetite rather, who is willing to take risk, who is not who's not shy to take risk and is not risk averse. Only if a person is willing to take risk can we foster creativity and innovation. So therefore, risk appetite is something which I would also look for. The another factor I look for is learnability, right? The person may not know the full aspects of the job, but if he or she is willing to learn and has that appetite to learn, I think we can skill up anybody in this world. And of course, last but not the least, but also we would require people who are good team players. I've seen some great individual contributors who are good as an individual contributor, but when you put them into a team, they don't succeed and they don't allow others to also succeed. So these are some of the characteristics I will look for when I hire somebody in an organization.
Absolutely. I love that. Having the people who have hunger, who have good attitude, good learning ability, and good team player, right? It's one of the key most important thing, right?
And risk
And
appetite.
yeah, risk appetite. That's absolutely. Awesome. And one of the questions what I have is like, how do we retain the team? I've seen like so many people come and join the team, and after like 2 months, 6 months, they jump, they leave the company. And many business owners, entrepreneurs, they train their team, and some people try to steal the things. Some people leave because of money. Some people because of the growth factor, not getting stagnated. Right? What does the team member basically look? And what is the key elements for someone to for entrepreneurs to retain the team?
See, one of the things I have seen is when you hire someone, why are you hiring somebody? You're hiring somebody because he or she brings something to the table, has a certain skills, certain behaviors. What we do is we bring them into the organization and then we start imposing our views, our thought processes, and then we start controlling them. And I think that's the beginning of the end, right? We should value people's uniqueness, value people's skills, thoughts, experiences, and their ideologies, and then of course give them the freedom for them to express themselves on the job, give them the autonomy. Of course you need to have some boundaries and some rules to control them, but it should not be very inhibiting for them to be feeling stifled at the job. Many times I find employees get stifled at the job. They are not able to exhibit their original self, and therefore, they, in the form of standardization and conformity with the organization culture, people lose their individual self. And the day a person loses his individuality and feels that is another brick in the wall or another cog in the wheel, that's when people start getting demoralized or demotivated and start looking for. So I think empowerment is the key to it, making people feel at home, providing them all the necessary support required for their success. A very engaging and empathetic leader, I think, is very key. Of course, as Frederick Herzberg says, the hygiene factors cannot be ignored either, right? Be it in terms of compensation, benefits, working conditions, the job itself, the supervision, and other factors also matter. But I believe that in today's competitive world, it's taken for granted that they are already taken care of. But beyond that, I think the factors which I mentioned about the leadership himself, the freedom and autonomy, the person able to express his individual self at work, a meaningful work, and then where their purpose, the individual purpose, is aligned with that of the organization's vision, are some of the factors which helps people to retain. But having said that, let me also tell you, I don't think any person can guarantee loyalty for life, nor can organizations guarantee employment for life. So we must be reconciling to the fact that people are here to stay for a few years. How is it that we can make that particular journey of few years memorable, successful, is what we should look at rather than trying to dream that they're going to stay forever into the organization.
Absolutely. And I wanted to add a point to it. Like, if we see, like, my parents, my mom was a teacher in Kendra Vidyalaya. She almost from her early 20s to like 60, she studied, like, she was the teacher at the same school. My father was in Bemel defense, like, entire his life from 18 to 60 was at the same
Right.
job itself. It never switched. Now right now the millionaires, the Gen Z's, like these people have like lot of luxury, lot of money, lot of things, and lot of opportunities, right? Even for a person to stay like 5 years, 10 years at the same organization, they're not able to stick to it because there's so many opportunities, right? Now as an entrepreneur also, when someone puts so much time and effort, they get like emotionally attached to the team, right? Like how should entrepreneurs also move on, right? Like search, like it's a part and parcel of life, right? Like people come and go, even they grow, you grow.
Absolutely. See, as long as people are adding value to the organization, and as long as the organization is adding value to the individual, I think they will stick along. And I don't think there's any boundary for that particular time period. Even now, we have got people who are living and working in organizations for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, because I guess so that they are adding value to the organization, and the organization also is adding value to the particular individual. So it's all about the value add from either side. And when the value adds are matching to each other's expectations, I think the relationship will flourish and continue for a longer period of time.
Absolutely, absolutely. That. And the next question is like, what are the key strategies that an organization has to adopt, like exponential growth, and how can HR play a pivotal role in the transformation of the company?
As I said, before, organizations must be willing to take risks and not be contented with a single digit growth, right? Organizations should be able to move out of their comfort zone. Though, of course, C.K. Prahlad once said that you have to focus on your core competence. But then, if everybody just focused on their core competence, we would never have had Airtel into payment banking, right? We would never have had Amazon from just selling books to whatever it is today, or Flipkart from just selling books to whatever it is today. So we have to sometimes move out of our comfort zone, think out of the box, go beyond our core competence, diversify our thinking, diversify our products and lines and services and businesses, and then get into newer areas and space. And that's how. And then, of course, as I said, we may have to challenge the status quo. Why is it that we do what we do? And that's how a lot of organizations are come. Look at the way in which the UPI and digital payments have challenged the status quo of traditional banking and financial industries, right? Remember the days when we had to go and draw cash, the amount of processes involved, the amount of time involved, and the amount of touch points that we had. But somebody out there challenged the status quo. Why do we need all these various unwanted processes and systems and various human intervention? Can I do away with all that? And with just a click of a button, I can now transfer thousands, if not even lakhs of rupees across the world. So because somebody out there challenged the status quo, somebody out there thought out of the box, somebody out there were willing to take the risks, right? And then of course, people also need to look at long-term vision, and organizations must be ready to accept failures. Jack Ma, if you know the story of Jack Ma, he said that he failed 26 times before he succeeded. Of course, we all know Albert Einstein and others, Thomas Alva Edison, who said he failed 8,000 times before he invented the bulb. So we must be willing to fail, learn from those failures, and then ensure that we don't repeat it in future. These are some of the things I think the organization will have to think about if they really want to grow 10x and develop into a exponential organization. And from an HR strategy perspective, I think HR has to also ride the same wave as the organization. If the organization is adopting a risk appetite, HR must also be willing to take a risk appetite, right? Not go to a conservative path of traditional hiring, but look at non-traditional hiring. Why should I hire always a person from the same industry? Can I get a person from some other industry? In my own case, I hired the head of recruitment at Schneider Electric. I went and hired a sales guy from the National Institute of Sales because I thought recruitment was like a sales function. And this guy came and changed the whole the game, and was one of the most successful recruiter, the head of talent acquisition I ever had in my 40 years of career. So we also have to think out of the box. We also have to move out of the comfort zone. We have to leverage technology, look at re-engineering various HR processes and systems. Does it really require the intervention of HR? What is the value that is being added at each process? What is the value that HR brings to the particular process? If there's no value, or if there's no exponential value but only incremental value, we may have to relook at that particular process and then re-engineer and simplify it. So HR also will have to behave like the business and then transform itself and ride the wave of the exponential organization.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's right. Like taking that risk, and it's like the one of the most important things. And I was seeing your speech, like Shrikant, Ravi, and everyone at the Global HR event. It was amazing. I would love to know about like the ROI, return of investment, when it comes down to investing in people, and what are the specific metrics or like KPIs you find like the most effective.
Right. So I always say this, many times we do not know what is it that we do, why is it that we do, and what is it that we do, how is it links to the impact onto the business results. In the absence of that, that's why people start wondering what is HR doing, what are people doing. So if you are able to articulate what is it that we do in HR and then link it to the measurable results of the business, then I think the credibility of HR and the return of investment and the impact that HR has on business can be established. Some of the metrics that which comes to my mind at the top of the especially in the context of business is, I would say, the revenue or the profit per employee is a very important parameter that every organization has to look at. Uh, we also have to look at the organization growth versus the employee growth. I work for a large organization, and I remember the organization was growing at around 6.5 to 7% per annum CAGR, and HR came and said, "Sir, we need to give a 12% increment and bonus of another 2%." So the MD of the organization asked, "How is it that when the organization is just growing 6.5 to 7%, you guys are coming and asking for about 14% budget for HR, for the labor?" So I think the growth of the organization versus the employee growth is another important parameter which HR has to look at. And then, of course, the cost of labor, right? Uh, if it's a manufacturing organization, say about 10 to 12%, again, dependent on the automation, whether it's a knowledge industry, it's a service industry. So based on that, what is the cost of labor? And we need to benchmark it to the external world. And then I would also say, so these are the three topmost matrices I would look at when it comes to how HR can impact the business.
Absolutely, absolutely. Love that. And sir, when it comes down to hiring people as a founder, right? How they have to measure, right? Like imagine on a Facebook ads or like advertisement when someone is investing, they see like return of investment 1x, 3x, 5x, right? And it is always told all like great people from Elon Musk, Peter Diamandis, they all told I am here today is because of my team, right? If we have a great team, we can build anything, right? What does a good team member, how much return of investment, if somebody invests on a good team, what is the kind of ROI is like the high benchmark, medium benchmark, and the lowest minimum they must have?
See, again, it's very difficult to quantify individually, right?
Okay.
That's where I think the trap is. We shouldn't fall into a trap of trying to measure, unless, of course, it's a sales function or a production function where you can easily measure, right? You're supposed to produce so many cars per day, or you're supposed to sell so many units, or so much of turnover in a particular district or a particular area. It's highly measurable. But I think that's why I think collectively we have to look at it, as I said earlier, collectively the sum total of all the employees, what is the revenue that's been generated. Yeah, I have got 100, I've got say 1,000 people, and then we're generating say 100 crores. But I have competition in a similar industry having 1,000 people but generating 200 crores. So who is more productive, right? So the productivity has been measured more collectively rather than individually. Again, as I said, the earlier measurements like the cost of labor, right? Am I for a similar job, am I paying more when compared to some other organizations? And of course, individually also, what is the value that a particular brings to the particular function or the process, are some other things that I look for at this point of time. And of course, if they are into R&D and other areas, how much of patents, how much of new products or innovations, how much are the continuous improvements that they have made? Is it incremental or is it exponential? These are some of the parameters I would look at. And of course, if it's in the IT industry, the number of people who are into a particular project, what is the turnaround time in terms of coding, what is the number of errors, or what are some of the time taken for testing. All those parameters I would take when it comes to measuring how productive or how efficient the people are in an organization.
Absolutely, absolutely. Love that. And sir, when it comes down to maintaining a positive employee experience and contribution to the overall growth, and how should we incentivize them? And some people work really hard in an organization, but someone else is only is getting the promotion or like getting the higher pay. right? And some people even hesitate to ask the HR, right? Like, how should they basically go about?
See, when it comes to maintaining a positive employee experience, the first question I would like to ask is how many organizations are able to provide employee experience equivalent to the customer experience, right? So when you walk into a Tanishq showroom or into an Apple showroom or into a Honda showroom, or when you get into a large supermarket like Lifestyle, the experience that the customer undergoes at the back end, do you think the employees have a similar experience? So
No.
that's why today I think the focus now when it comes to retention of employees, motivating employees, on productive employees, building a great high performing organization culture, I think the focus now is more about providing an employee experience to our employees, which is as good or as equal to the customer experience. Take, for example, the way in which, as I was just talking about, the financial transformation or revolution which has happened in the society thanks to UPI and digital payment. But when you go into an organization, believe me, even today, if a person wants to apply for a loan, say for a salary advance or for a car loan or for some other loan in an organization, the amount of processes involved, the amount of approvals required, and the time taken, it doesn't happen in the press of a button. I don't have a HRMS system where I go press a button and then next second or next minute the money goes into my bank. People have to go raise a request, then it has to get approved by the manager, then they have to send it to HR. HR then goes through 2 or 3 levels of process of approvals, then it goes to finance. Somebody in finance has to review it, then somebody there out has to make a payment, and sometimes it can take a few days, few weeks, and sometimes even few months. So, can I ensure that the same level of re-engineering that has happened at the customer level, can we have it at the employee level also to ensure that the employee experience matches that of customer experience? We talk about customer delight, but how much of us talk about employee delight? Right? So we have to identify the various touch points in an employee life cycle and ensure that their experience at each of those touch points, right from entry to exit, whether it's your onboarding, whether it's your recruitment processes, whether it's your payroll processes, whether it's your annual performance management processes or your annual increments or your talent management processes, your daily engagement activities or your exit processes, can I ensure world class uh, experience to our employees is what is the key when it comes to employer experience. And in terms of how should we incentivize them, I guess I introduced a concept called the voice of internal customer experience at Schneider Electric. In fact, that particular practice got an award at the SSO in Singapore, Asia
Wow.
Pacific level, as the best HR practice in that particular competition. So we said we will measure at each stage of an employee life cycle. We will go and seek, what used to happen in the past was HR's credibility was probably influenced or determined, or HR's reputation was determined by a few people, either positive or negative experiences. So what we said is we'll actually go to the every touch point and all the employees who have consumed my services in HR, whether it's in the recruitment, the hiring manager, whether a candidate experience before the person joins, day one experience, 90-day onboarding experience, at the end of the performance management processes, at the end of the increment of the payroll processes, at every stage of the employee life cycle, we used to conduct a survey and then seek the feedback of the employee, and then we used to monitor it on a monthly basis. We used to have some targets saying that there must be at least 7 out of 10 or 9 out of 10, and then match against the target what are the actual performance. And then many and all our HR professionals KPIs and their bonuses were linked to the performance based on the feedback of the employee in terms of their user experience at various levels. So that's how we were able to drive this employee experience. Our employee satisfaction score at one point of time when we started this was around 3.2 on a scale of 5. At the end of 6 months, it went up to 3.7. And at the end of 2 years, we were able to achieve close to 4 in terms of employee satisfaction. So this is how we were able to incentivize our teams to ensure that we're able to provide a superior employee experience to our stakeholders.
Absolutely amazing, amazing. And when you were telling the rating, right? Like, were you measuring? Was it like anonymous way of like voting, or like something where people used to tell this is the experience, or like every 3 months during the meeting they fill out a form or something?
No, it's not every 3 months. It is immediate. If
Okay.
a hiring manager hired a candidate and the person has been finalized, immediately he'll do it. It's not a aggregation over a period of time. It is on the spot as and when an activity happens, as and when an activity or a service is delivered or a service is consumed, we seek the feedback and it is anonymous. We have the option for the employee to either disclose their identity or keep it anonymous, because if they keep it anonymous we may not be able to go back and make any changes. If they disclose their identity, then we can go back and seek their feedback, or if there are any corrections to be done we could do that. And believe me, I think almost 60 to 65% of the people were transparent and open and disclosed their identity. Probably about one third of the employees felt comfortable being anonymous.
Absolutely, absolutely, like that. And sir, when it comes down to even the global HR community, right? And what are the most effective HR tools for analytics, data-driven decision making? How does the organization leverage these tools to enhance the HR processes? Like know the exactly the high level view, right? What's happening in the entire company, who is working on what? Is there any flow chart or like dashboard or software like you use?
So, see, today most of the HRMS tools have an inbuilt analytics tool built in, right? Whether you talk about Workdays, we talk about PeopleSoft, Oracle Fusion, or you talk about Darwin Box, Closer Home, right? They have their inbuilt analytics. But believe me, in my own experience, we had Oracle Fusion as the base ERP. We were using Talio for recruitment. We were using Cornerstone for learning and development. We were using um, similar other tools. But at the end of the day, HR goes back. If you ask me, when people want reports, we go back to Excel, right? I still believe Excel is a great tool at the bottom of the pyramid for day-to-day functions, for day-to-day reporting. If you know how to use Excel well in terms of the pivot tables, the validations, data validations, and others, Excel is a very good tool. And then, of course, taking this further, of course, we have got Tableau. Then we have got Power BI, which is a very good tool which when it comes to analytics. And then, of course, if you know a little bit of programming, Python and R is very useful for analytics. And of course, you got ready-made predictive analytics tools like RapidMiner, which helps you in terms of analyzing millions of data points and giving you certain very accurate predictions. So these are some of the tools which I suggest: Excel, Power BI, Tableau, Python, R, and then of course tools like RapidMiner and others.
Absolutely. Sir, and to use these tools, how many people should be there in an organization minimum? Is there any
I don't
number
know
for
what.
it?
I don't think we can put a particular number. It all
Okay.
depends on the size of the organization.
Hmm.
At least you must have you must, of course, need to have a HR analytics department or a subdivision within the HRMS organization. One or two people should be familiar with this. But of course, there's always this debate about in-house versus outsourcing. But even if you outsource it, at least somebody in the organization should know how to leverage these tools and how to use them for analytics.
Right, right. Absolutely. And the next question is like, sir, right now, in the AI world, right? Like artificial intelligence is growing so fast, and even Peter was telling Elon Musk was telling in 2025, AGI, Advanced General Intelligence, is coming. ChatGPT 5, it's almost going to beat a PhD person, right? And right now there are like so many HR AI tools also, which is trying to do interview with the person, and even some people are also trying to fool the HR also, where the AI is answering the interview questions and everything. Now, as an HR leader, how should they basically prepare and adopt to this thriving, evolving landscape?
See, I think Peter did mention about this. Elon Musk has said, if you can't beat it, live with it, right? So I don't think there's any more debate about whether AI is going to pervade HR. When all other facets of our life are pervaded by HR, by AI, HR is also going to get pervaded by AI. Now, the best thing is, how do I learn to live with it? How do I leverage it, right? Now, we must understand there's something called the value chain in an organization, right? Now, we in HR also, it's like a pyramid. So, what's going to happen is all those activities and efforts and services or products, what we have at the bottom end of the value chain, which are largely not adding much value to the larger part of the organization, which are largely routine, repetitive, monotonous, are likely, not likely, will be replaced by AI, right? Similarly, so HR has to move up the value chain. And even as you rightly said, even maybe the HR operations are going to be totally robotized, right? For example, I don't want to name the company, one of the large IT companies in India recently, they had somewhere around 800 people in the recruitment space. They have now reduced to 200 people because what they did is they have now gone to what is called as a recruitment process optimization using AI and other tools. So at the lower end of the recruitment value chain, as you said, the sourcing, the screening, the scheduling, why do I need a human intervention? I can as well have robotics or the robotic process automation which takes care of this. Similarly, when it comes to the first level of screening and interviewing, bots are taking over, video bots are taking over because now it has been established that the video bots can do a much better job in terms of screening and interviewing people without any biases, right? And secondly, the scale. It can simultaneously interview 100 people or 500 people, whereas a human being can only interview one person at a time. And then it can work 24 by 7, whereas humans can only work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week with a lot of holidays, a lot of other restrictions. So that's why, in terms of productivity and efficiency, now organizations are moving towards it, and HR has to. Imagine an organization like TCS, which has got 600,000 employees. If you use the traditional process of identifying high potentials and doing career mapping and then identifying the succession planning, how much of time it would have taken, the biases involved. Today, I think algorithms decide who should be the successor, what should be the career path for people. So, therefore, as I said, many of the AI related tools like algorithms, like video interviews, like bots, like an HRBP can only, in one of the organization, there's one HRBP for 800 people or 500 people. How can that particular one person engage with 500 people? Whereas with bots now at the bottom end of the pyramid, day to day engagements, regular engagements can be taken out by chatbots and other bots. And many times people felt many of these things, what we're talking is fancy, is only to the Western world. Mahindra has launched a robotic HR advisor, which walks on the shop floor and talks to people. There are many
Wow.
others who are there. And you saw in Peter Diamandis' program, RIA, which
Yes, yes.
the Machani groups have launched, which is going to help in terms of engaging with old people. So I think we will see a lot of automation. We will see a lot of disruption happening, and HR will have to move up the value chain. And the silver lining in the dark cloud is, as somebody said, there are still certain things which robots can't do. There are still certain things AIs can't do, which is the human feelings, the culture building in an organization, the relationship management, understanding and empathy is something which these automations can never do that. And that is where I think the humans have to play a role, and that is where HR has to step into.
Absolutely, absolutely love that. everyone has to adopt. The bottom line is going to this thing if they don't use AI, right? And someone who uses AI will become more productive, as you told. There's a company with 800 employees. Today, they are like 200 HR company, like 200 people doing all the things with that. And sir, as an HR, right? Like, what jobs are like more future in demand, right? In Bangalore right now, the AI is like booming like anything. Robotics, it's coming, right? What is going to be like more sustainable, where there is huge demand, like the supply and demand, right? When there is huge supply, less demand, less supply, huge demand. What are those blue ocean jobs?
I am not I am not an astrologer, but I can tell you data science, data analytics has always been sought after. The supply and demand and supply. The demand is very high, but the supply is very less. Similarly, AI and robotics, right? There are very few colleges and B schools or engineering schools which are really teaching people on AI, robotics, and others, and therefore there's a huge demand. Process automation, process reengineering, data security, right? I have seen that now there is something called data audits, right? We talk about
Right.
audits only in terms of finance and accounting, but now people are talking about digital audits, right? Who are reviewing all the various processes, identifying if there are any loopholes, how secure and safe they are, right? Data security, data science, data analytics, AI, robotics, human machine interface, right? As Forget about what Elon Musk is working about brain machine interface, BMI. Let's think about it a little later. But right now, human machine interface, you're going to see a lot more human and machine coming together and working at the workplace. Now, how do I ensure that we have one and harmonious relationship between the two? And second, how can we leverage and optimize both these resources to get the best for the organization? These are some of the areas. In terms of HR, I remember one of my friend is doing robotic psychology. How do I train the robots to understand human behavior and then relate and behave with humans as humans? So robotic psychology, data detective is something which I talked about, data security, data detective. And there are some crazy roles coming up in future, and and it's evolving at a very fast pace.
Absolutely. And I believe even the prompt engineering, right? Like asking the
Yes,
right questions with.
absolutely. Prompt engineering, I missed out on it. Absolutely. How do we leverage ChatGPT to the advantage of HR? And I think prompt engineer, somewhere I read, are one of the highest paid jobs in the US at this point of time.
Correct, correct, right. Absolutely. Love that. And sir, tell us about the global HR community and how it works and what are the benefits one can get and what are the future events, right? And I believe you all did a phenomenal job of bringing Peter. I want to thank you and your team, Srikanth, Ravi, everyone, right? Because meeting Peter was like my dream. Like since 2 3 years, I was thinking, should I go to like America to go? But I was luckily happy to see that Peter was coming to India. I instantly registered. I told all of my friends, everyone also to come, but very few people turned up because not many were like super aware of like Peter, right? And why it is important for them to attend like these kind of events and everything.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Akshay, for promoting that particular conference and all the buzz that you created around in the social media. Thank you for that. And it was also a great opportunity for the first time to know you and meet you and uh, get closer, knowing each other. In terms of the global HR community, basically it's a digital platform which has been created by us to bring together the people professionals, the people managers, the business leaders, the entrepreneurs, the academicians, and the students to actually promote excellence in the areas of people management in individuals and also in the society at large through what we call our guiding tenets or principles of discover, connect, learn, grow, and contribute. So this particular platform enables people to network, to connect with people, build network. After all, I strongly believe your network is your net worth. So
Right.
therefore, networking opportunities. I never knew Akshay before, but thanks to Global HR community, I now know who Akshay is, and we're able to develop friendship. and through you we are able to also network and connect with a lot many other people. So connecting and networking is one of the key parameters of the global HR community. Through this process, we are also offering the members to learn, right? One is learn from the community itself through peer learning. I strongly believe I've also been in academics for the last few years, and I think we learn more from peer learning than through formal learning. Having said that, we also have a formal learning platform where we offer curated courses in the space of people management, and we also have a white labeled upskilling platform which enables people to upskill, cross skill themselves. We offer about 150,000 courses covering about 1,800 skills and about 2,500 job roles. That's the skilling platform which our members can benefit to help themselves to upskill and cross skill. As you know that today's world, you need to be continuously learning and be continuously employable. Otherwise, you're going to be out of the reckon in the job market. The platform also helps in terms of collaboration. It helps to bring the consumer and the producer together. So we got something called as the listing services, where we list the services of the various products and service providers in the space of people management. And I think you're one of the person who's also listed your services as a consultant, as a coach, as a trainer, or as a lawyer, or whatever may it be. So this is a collaboration platform. It brings together the producer and the consumer. Plus, we also have a marketplace where we offer some digital products and services also. Um, the platform also enables people in terms of career growth, right? It helps people to look for opportunities for growth in the job market, and also helps potential employers and hiring managers to seek for candidates from within the particular community. And we also celebrate success through this community, where we identify unique successes of our members and then recognize them and then award them. So basically, if I have to say why you should look at joining communities like the global HR community, one is I think it gives you a global exposure. Many times I find we are constrained through in our vision by looking at the narrow pyramid of our organization, and like an ostrich in the sand, right? So this helps you to look beyond your organization, beyond your workspace, and look at what's happening around the world. So it gives you a global exposure, uh, brush shoulders with people outside the organization. So again, as I said, thanks to the conference, we were able to brush along so many other leaders and get to know each other. And as I said, it helps you in terms of continuous learning. As a community, you can also seek support and provide support. And it's a great opportunity for people to experiment what is it that they couldn't do within the organizations, to look beyond the organizations and try and experiment and pursue their passions and seek their purposes. And then, of course, make an impact to the society for people who are interested to contribute, like what you are doing today. You are actually trying to contribute to the larger society and make an impact by sharing the thought leaders, interviewing thought leaders, sharing their experiences and knowledge, and making an impact. So all this is possible thanks to the community approach, and that's what we do. We have had a modest start. We just started about 4.5 months back. We got about 1,500 members as of now,
Wow.
and we look to grow into a much larger organization with the support of people like you and some of your subscribers.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Sir, and I also have a question. When I was telling my friends from Hyderabad and from IIM also to come and attend the event, Global HR, they were telling, like, is it only for HR people, right? We are entrepreneurs. What we are going to do in HR or community, right? Can you tell us about it?
I think it's a very right. It's a right question. It's a difficult question. Um, when we started, we thought it was HR community is just not restricted to HR. HR community is all about people managers. That's why, as I said, what is this community about? It's bringing together the HR professionals, people managers, right? Whether you're a finance person or a marketing person or a production or an IT, You have to get things done through people. So you are a people manager. So anybody who's got a people management a role to play, they're welcome and they will be part of this particular community. It's not restricted just to the HR community. Maybe the name is a nomenclature. We may probably make it just GHRC so that it doesn't confuse people. Certainly, it's not restricted to any particular domain or set of profession. It's open to every people manager, irrespective of the industry, the domain, or whatever it may be.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's amazing, right? And highly recommend, guys. Like if you want to learn about like all these things about whatever Ramesh sir was telling, and if you want to be part of the community, you can check out. And even I believe like more events also in future is going to happen, right? Like how we all invited Peter Diamandis, the Britannica, like the founder, right? Like the CEO.
Yeah, so we are actually tying up with Singularity University.
Okay,
Actually, I have a small emergency. Can I just come for a minute? Can I pause
sure,
for a
sure.
minute? Can I?
Sure. And guys, that's the thing, right? Like learning from experts, being part of the communities, right, can help you go to the next level, right? It's all about uh, we taking that initiative and like taking action. And because I took the initiative going to like Bangalore and then going to Delhi, right? In Bangalore, I was not able to interview like Peter. Going to Delhi, I was able to interview Peter at the global HR event. Hmm.
Sorry,
Yeah,
my
don't worry.
wife is not home. Somebody else continuously ringing the bell.
Okay.
So, as I was saying, we are now tied up with Singularity University, which is again the brainchild of Peter Diamandis. He's the
Wow.
founder of Singularity University, which is one of the best universities in the world, which is in the
Absolutely.
space of AI and exponential organization. So
Yes.
we are now bringing a Singularity University programs to India. We are
Wow.
starting off with a couple of private programs with YPOs, but in November, end of November, we are opening a program for the benefit of the general public, and it'll be revolving around what we talked about AI, about exponential organization, about longevity, about abundance mindset, and we will be opening it for the general public, and you will get to know about it very shortly. Besides that, the Global HR community organizes seminars, conferences, and webinars on a monthly basis. We are now working, coming up, or rather, there's another program which is coming up on the 30th of August, what we call Measuring the Success of Investment Made on People, HR Analytics Workshop. And then we are also coming up with the next practices competition in the area of people management. We are all got used to best practices. Now we want to make it next practices. We are also working out, coming up with a HR Got Talent competition. So there are a lot of events which we have planned in the coming quarters, coming months, and we look forward to active participation from people like you and others.
Absolutely. I'll be super happy to know that and promote and bring more people to that abundance, Peters, whatever programs are there, right? Because I
Right.
believe in US people pay way more money, and if it is in India, it's going to be much as per like Indian standards, right?
Yes.
And it can impact, it can help more people because Peter is like almost 60 to 63 years from years of decades of experience of managing $1 billion fund X prize and like being so much closely connected with Elon Musk and other global billionaires in the longevity space, in the space, in the education, right? The amount of energy and the value what he brings to the table is like uncomparable. Do you agree with it?
Absolutely.
Yes, yes,
We are
absolutely.
privileged to be partnering with them. We are privileged
Amazing.
and honored to be partnering with them.
Absolutely. I love that. And sir, how can people basically connect with you, right? If they want to learn more about the global HR community and want to connect with you.
See, from the global HR communities, they can visit our website, globalhrcommunity.com. They can visit our LinkedIn page, our Facebook, our Instagram, and YouTube channels. They can reach out to me again on LinkedIn. I'm active on the LinkedIn, and people can reach out to me on the LinkedIn.
Absolutely, absolutely amazing, amazing. And so, any last words you want to tell to everyone, like before we conclude today at the Real Knowledge Club?
First of all, I think I should thank you for inviting me. It's a privilege and a pleasure, as I said before. And I think you're doing a human service to the society by. I see that you talk to every day. I see almost every other day you're talking to some thought leaders, some influencers, and then sharing their knowledge and views to the people, and then spreading that knowledge wide and across. I think that's a great human service that you're doing. And then,
Thank you
of
so much.
course, you are helping promote people like Peter Diamandis and indirectly our organization also. So thank you so much for that. And I would only say that India is on the cusp of something great. We are, of course, 3.5 trillion, but then I think we have the potential. Why only about 5 trillion? We should be talking about $30 trillion. Why become only the third largest economy? Why not look at the first largest economy? I think we have it in us. It's just that the environment sometimes doesn't allow that. But then, rather than blaming environment, each one of us must start thinking exponentially, like what Peter talks about, 10x rather than just incremental 1x or 2x, but look at 10x growth individually. And if each one of us grow 10x, I think the organization or the country will also grow 10x, and we should become the largest economy in about 50 to 70 years time from now. So we all have to adopt an abundance mindset. We all have to be very positive. There will be some short term losses, there will be some short term inconveniences, but I think the long term we are well set to be riding the wave of growth for years to come, or maybe for centuries to come. And I think as Abraham Lincoln, as the saying goes, that right, let's not worry about what the country has done to us. Let's think about what is it that we can do to the organization or to our country. And that's my last
Absolutely.
message to everyone.
Absolutely. Love that. Love your optimism, energy, and the knowledge which you shared. Thank you so much, sir, once again for coming here. And
Thank you.
everyone, do let us know what's your biggest takeaway. Do share it with your friend. Let's make a world a better place to live. Tag your friend and do let us know what's your three biggest takeaway, what you learned from today, right? About all about like exponential organization, measuring ROI, people investment, AI, and everything. And that's all for now. Thank you everyone for watching. Have a great day. Bye bye. See you all.
Thank you. Bye bye.